everybody, and welcome to this special on Uranus going retrograde. So this year, Uranus goes retrograde on the 1st of September at 3:18 p.m. Uranus then enters Aries on the 13th of December at 5:58 a.m. and when Uranus goes retrograde on the 1st of September, it's in Taurus. Then Uranus is going to go direct on the 30th of January at 5:23 p.m. 2025 until the 19th of March 2025 at 5:15 p.m. and it's going to move back into Taurus. So yeah. Uranus retrograde, as is all retrogrades in astrology, is when a planet, in this case Uranus, appears to be moving backwards in its orbit from our perspective on Earth, but actually what Uranus and planets are actually doing when they go retrograde is that they're kind of just moving side to side, turning back on themselves rather than actually, going backwards, really kind of like spinning on their own axis. And of course, if it's just a point like the moon's north node, which is a calculation, when that goes retrograde, then it's kind of like a imaginary thing. So yeah. So when Uranus goes retrograde, its energies turned inward, and this is asking us to reassess our goals, beliefs and desires, especially when it comes to our individual authentic expression. A lot of the time we conform to what society wants us to be, or our parents, culture, family, religions, any other group or organizations, friends, lovers, So this energy wants us to reflect on how we are living our lives, seeing what things we can improve on, what we need to let go of in terms of, self-destructive thoughts, habits and toxic relationships, as well as, toxic ways of the ways you toxically relate to others and yourself as well. So ultimately, when Uranus is retrograde, it brings a time of self-reflection, introspection, and it can bring unexpected twists or events into our life. And this doesn't always mean experiences. A lot of people feel this energy inward, where you just find yourself, really going over your psychological, emotional, and spiritual trauma and reflecting on how you can heal it or what you need to let go of. Or in some extreme cases, it can lead to us overly ruminating on our, problems, and this can cause a lot of mental sort of distress, especially if we ignore the sort of direction Uranus is trying to pull us in when it's in retrograde. So just we have to be aware of this. A lot of the time I'm so up for us as we move into adults, learning to manage our strengths and weaknesses and all the different traits of our personality, so that we can sort of not only meet our own needs but handle the world much better, and handle disruptions that Uranus brings. So this energy is pushing us to break free from outdated patterns and embrace new opinions, new beliefs, new ways of seeing the world and being in the world. It's a time for liberation, seeking freedom, seeking revolution. And as I said, it doesn't need to be in big radical ways. A lot of the times this energy can just work inwardly, but we are encouraged to challenge conformity, living up to other people's expectations, and embrace our unique identities and self-expression. It can highlight areas where we have been resisting change, avoiding taking risks, or sort of resisting confronting our fears, and it's moving us towards personal growth and transformation. And although this can bring internal or external struggles, it's kind of trying to push us or awaken us to a greater sense of self awareness, self-love, acceptance, forgiveness of ourselves and others, letting go of the past, gaining a deeper understanding of our past events in this life or our past lives, if you believe in reincarnation, and just pushes us to understand our true purposes in lives and our desires and how to meet all of our needs in healthy ways. Because a lot of the time, our needs are our needs, right? But they only become reckless when we let it go out in, self-destructive sort of like ways, So this energy wants us to reflect on how we can express ourselves in an authentic way, but also in a healthy and boundaried way as well. So yeah, on a practical level, when Uranus is retrograde, we can find ourselves sort of like maybe wanting to change our careers, our relationships. It can bring confusions in our personal beliefs and values. So it's important for us to remain flexible and seeking out the tools, that we need to help us remain in balance or find balance or to process our emotions in a healthy way, and deal with whatever comes up in a healthy way as well. We can have a resistance to change, and the more we resist these changes, the sort of how this energy can sort of react. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, is by kind of like being a stubborn toddler, digging its sort of like heels in, like, no, I want it this way, I want you to change. And it can keep sending your internal thoughts or external events that push you to question. So it's kind of like best to work with the energy, and doing this can lead to breakthroughs and really, really help you with your personal growth. And by being open to new ways of doing things, unconventional ideas, stepping outside of your comfort zone, being open to listening to other people's opinions and challenging the status quo, what our world tells us we should be like, what social media tells us, what everyone else tells us who we should be, and asking yourself, who am I? Taking time to break free from limiting beliefs in order to create a more authentic and fulfilling life path for yourself. So yeah, limiting beliefs, we all have them, even sometimes when we think that we don't. So limiting beliefs are the assumptions we can all make, like, I don't know, you meet someone and we can automatically think in an intimate sense that they want the same things as us without asking questions, and then this assumption can just make us assume that they do, and can lead to all sort of nightmares. Limiting beliefs can be what we think about ourselves and the world, and what we sort of like should deserve. And as I said, a lot of the time these beliefs are under the surface. Even if on the surface you may appear to be a confident person, deep down you may not be. So these limiting beliefs normally live in our subconscious and limit us from expressing ourselves in a creative way, and progressing in life in the ways that we want. They can lead to our procrastination, low self-esteem, and us accepting toxic relationships and experiences in our lives, because on the subconscious level, from our past experiences, our social environments, our childhood, our unresolved psychological, emotional and spiritual traumas, or our negative self-talk, our fear of failure and a fixed mindset, and all of these can contribute to us, not going forward. So Uranus retrograde asks us to really look at the things that are limiting us, starting with those beliefs that we hold about what we deserve, from life, and why we have these beliefs, especially if we believe that we can never have what we truly want because of some past mistake, heartbreak, or word someone said, or because of your own same guilt and unforgiveness cycles, said not to shame and blame, but to put a spotlight on, the things that have stopped me in my life, and I've seen has stopped many people, So on a worldly, materialistic level, we can see sort of like sudden changes in financial markets, unexpected changes in economic policies, and disruptions in industries kind of like controlled by technology and innovation. So yeah, so any alternative area, we can see some innovation there, or something like that. So yeah, on an individual sort of like worldly level, people can find themselves reassessing their relationship with material possessions, with money, status, questioning the validity of societal norms, especially those we hold around success and wealth, and what a valuable person is, and what they should have and what they should do. Sort of like it wants you to find the unconventional path towards financial stability, tapping into your inner resources, especially if you've got strong Uranus energy in your natal chart, especially in your second house. So yeah, Uranus retrograde encourages a re-evaluation of our materialistic values and asks us to align them with more authentic and sustainable way of engaging in the material world, because the way that we live now is not sustainable, because it's not equal, it's out of balance, and not everyone has fair access to humanity's resources. And we can get into debates, and a lot of people think this is the way it should be, but I believe if we share access to things, we have a better world for everyone, because everyone will be free from having to worry about certain things, and then there'll be more innovation, more creativity. And this is what Uranus retrograde wants us to focus on. It wants us to break free from the confines of capitalism and consumerism and societal expectations. Not saying capitalism is bad and get rid of it, no, but it wants us to use it in a more conscious way and take a more intentional approach to worldly possessions and resources, especially in the way that they're distributed, and especially the way on the individual level we spend our resources as well. Do you spend your money on things that uplift you, or do you spend a lot of your money on things that help you to escape from your reality? And why do you do so? A lot of the time we do so, it's good to go on holidays and all of that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about maybe if you excessively overindulge in intoxicating substances, alcohol, and risky scenarios that can damage you on the psychological, spiritual and emotional level. These sort of like reckless behaviours stem from unresolved psychological, emotional and spiritual trauma usually. So getting to the bottom of the things that drive you to sort of like have low self-esteem and want to not be your authentic self. Maybe you were told you weren't good enough. A lot of people's pain can stem from that. So just getting real about what it really is going to take to make you happy. And if you do use money and status to make you happy, question why. On the political sort of like social level, there can be a shift in government policies, unexpected changes in leadership, and sort of like revolutions in our motivation, drive and desires. And sort of like this energy challenges traditional power structures, and it can spark rebellions against oppressive regimes in terms of the people of a nation, or within government and political leaders calling each other out and debating and stuff like that, and policies that are pushing for more societal progress and equality. So yeah, on the personal level, some of you may feel compelled to participate in activism or standing up for injustice or advocating for a more inclusive society, and just wanting us to sort of like embrace progressive ideologies that prioritize freedom, equality and social justice for all, regardless of gender expression or sexual orientation and stuff like that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk more about the psychological implications of Uranus retrograde. So, it challenges us to disrupt our ingrained patterns of thought and behaviour, wanting us to break free from our limiting beliefs, as I said, that no longer serve our personal growth. Because a lot of the time, and I've recently had to work with this energy again within myself, we can sort of change as individuals or incorporate new things into our life, but still sort of treat ourselves and perceive the world from our old sort of mindset. So we should always make sure that we're sort of upgrading our theory with our practical sort of output, if that makes sense. Sorry, sometimes I can find it hard to explain things, and sometimes it just slips off the tongue, So yeah, it can bring sudden insights and revelations about the things that we need to change, and we can just understand our true identity, purpose our needs, or find ways to meet our needs in more healthier ways. It pushes us to embrace our uniqueness and change and sort of cultivate, develop, create more of a sense of autonomy, stepping into our independence, especially in our psychological makeup, how we think about things, questioning those automatic thoughts, those things we allow to live in our mind sort of rent free. And as I said, because Uranus retrograde wants us to go inward and question our authenticity and confront our psychological, emotional and spiritual wounds in terms of how they stop us from being a authentic individual and showing up in the world and going after the things we really want, especially the alternative things in life. A lot of the times we may be like, oh well, I really want to try things like this, but people from my country or my culture or people who look like me don't do this or that. So it just wants you to really confront your fears and insecurities and toxic limiting beliefs and any resistance to change, and it just triggers restlessness because it wants us to rebel and break free from the things that get in the way of you being who you want to be. So on the deeper esoteric spiritual levels, because we find ourselves questioning the status quo in our life or on the global scale, and just kind of seeking a deeper understanding of the universe and our place within it. For some of you, or just your world, your environment, or trying to solve a problem in your relationship or your career, it can be a time of spiritual awakening or just awakening to truths. We are encouraged to explore new ideas and perspectives on the symbolic and creative level. As I said, it inspires us to think more originally, and we can feel more inclined to express ourselves more creative, as this is a very innovative, thinking outside of the box energy that wants us to sort of push the boundaries, especially when it comes to how we view art or create art and music or writing or anything else that you create or should be creating. It's an excellent time to experiment with new creative projects, starting a creative project or hobby you've been putting off, doing the things that reflect your unique personality and true individuality. Emotionally, because Uranus retrograde can bring up feelings of restlessness and a desire for freedom, we can just sort of experience a lot of ups and downs as we confront and release old patterns that no longer serve us. So it's important to be open to change and embrace the unknown and do things to ground yourself and relax. Do not push yourself too hard to bring about change all at once. Uranus is retrograde for a good, 4 to 5 months, 4 to 5 months, so just take your time, make a strategic plan, and, allow yourself to grow and evolve on a deeper level. And I know it can be hard. Take daily steps, get back up after each failure, research the necessity of it, get comfortable with it, because a lot of of the time, you know, failure is a big part of success, but we fear it and we take it so internally to mean that we can never do the things that we want to. But no, we just have to tweak our approach. Sometimes we have to work on our emotional health and get that right, so we can do the things we need. Sometimes we'll have to work on our psychological, our spiritual, our financial health, our physical health, you know, always kind of continuously and consciously trying to improve ourselves while giving ourselves time to have fun while doing it, and not just focusing on the destination but enjoying the journey as well. So yeah, this energy may push some of you to start a passion project instead of sticking with a stable job. Some of you may decide to end your career and go for more unconventional sort of like career or spiritual practices or something else alternative, rather than sticking with more traditional beliefs. Don't worry, not all of you are going to go full out in any one direction. Some of you may, you know, use this energy in a more practical way, reevaluating personal relationships that no longer align with your roving sense of self or something like that. It doesn't have to be, you know, totally tapped into the spiritual realm, although for some of you that's what you will be doing. And you know, these shifts can just make us feel kind of erratic because it can be sort of like a chaotic energy. And you know, by tapping into the energy of Uranus retrograde, we can let our sort of like inner rebel out. It's a time to trust your intuition and take bold risks, and to embrace the unknown with courage and curiosity, with an open mind and heart. But make sure you do your research and do all the things you need to be doing to stay grounded. So this year, when Uranus goes retrograde, it goes retrograde in Aries, then it moves into Taurus. So it wants us to break free from stagnant, you know, old situations, especially in the areas related to our finances, our possessions and our values, our opinions, our cultures, our beliefs, our religions, you know. Some of you may find a new way to budget your money more effectively, or discover a hidden talent that can bring in extra income. But negatively, sudden changes can lead to instability in these areas, in our finances, in our values and in our possessions as well. So it's essential to stay open-minded and flexible, as you know, any unexpected twists and turns coming, to handle them. Negatively, you know, be cautious of sort of like being impulsive, because you're doing impulsive things. Saying and doing actions can cause conflicts and tension, so it's important to think before you act or react to avoid unnecessary consequences, to get consent from other people, to have time out if you need to have time out. The best use of Uranus retrograde in Taurus and Aries is to embrace change and maintain a grounded approach. Be flexible but practical, and you know, stay connected to your long-term values and goals, and look into the ways you can become more authentic in achieving them, and not to be afraid to challenge what you think you know as well. So when Uranus goes into retrograde this year on the 1st of September, it's in Taurus and it stays there, you know, for a good 3 months, and then it moves into Aries on the 13th of December. So, you know, we've got that grounding, stable energy of Taurus at the beginning, getting us sort of like, maybe we may be resistant to the change then. You know, we may be resistant because Taurus can be fixed energy, or we may be determined. We can use this energy to be determined, like, yes, I'm going to bring in change. But when Uranus goes into Aries on the 13th of December, you may find that you're more open to change, because Aries energy is cardinal. It's like, come on now. We may have resisted it while Uranus is in Taurus retrograde, but when it moves into Aries, we may just go. Now I'm going to talk about the aspects that Uranus makes when it goes into retrograde while it's in Aries. So the moon makes a square to Uranus, so this adds to the emotional confusion and sudden mood swings that can come up over, the 4 to 5 months, because these aspects flavour. And the Sabian degree that I'm going to talk about, what Uranus is in when it goes into retrograde, flavours the whole period. So this can bring challenges in us maintaining sort of like emotional, psychological and spiritual stability, and financial and physical routine. Mercury also makes a square to Uranus, so this adds to the mental restlessness and disruptions in communications that can come up. We can have unexpected sort of like news or ideas that kind of can shake up our thinking patterns, or we can find out a secret or something like that, and this can lead to us, although we may have some upset at first, we can come up with innovative solutions to resolve the problems and conflicts that may come up in our environment. Mars makes a semi-sextile to Uranus, so this is a solar energy, and it brings an impactful alignment between our motivation, drive, desires and the need for change. So we may find ourselves more willing to take risks and embrace unconventional approaches to achieving our goals. So this is really, really good to help us think about new strategies that we can try and implement into our lives to achieve that weight loss goal, that long-term healthy eating goal. It's always best, if you want to lose weight, to incorporate a healthy lifestyle, tackling it from the psychological, emotional, spiritual and physical levels. You have more success of kind of like sticking with it. Saturn also makes a quintile to Uranus, so this brings a harmonious sort of like blend where we can kind of like mix tradition with newness and progressive ideals and ideas. So it can just help us embrace new opinions and new ways of being, and find unique ways to structure our life and implement long-lasting changes that align with our personal growth. So this is an inward energy quintiles. By quintiles, more inward, even though it can manifest on the external, because what we do within shows without, right? So this energy just allows us to sort of like make peace with our old beliefs, or upgrade our old beliefs with like a new approach of implementing them or thinking about them. Uranus also makes a sextile to Neptune, and this brings a touch of creativity and inspiration, and it just allows us to feel more tuned to our spiritual sides and be open to new ways of expressing our imagination and intuition. Uranus also makes a trine to Pluto, so this just empowers us to embrace transformation on a deeper level, and just helps us with regeneration, confronting our repressions and our home truths. It's a nice peaceful energy, so just to work with whatever comes up and to do what needs to get done at this time. Uranus makes a quincunx to ascendant, so this can bring a challenge to our sense of self-worth and how we present ourselves to the world right now, but it allows, after we overcome these challenges, for us to have a subtle shift in our outward persona, how we project ourselves, how we show up in the world, and also for some of you this shows that you will experience some kind of unexpected changes in your relationships or with your conversations, how you communicate with others, how you are with them. It's essential to stay flexible and open-minded, and to just be more sort of like aware of how you're coming across, and to just think of the things, as I said earlier, that are blocking you from being you, and working through them and learning to heal them one by one. Remember, it is not a marathon, or no, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. That's the one. Okay, so when Uranus goes retrograde, it's in the 4th degree of Taurus, and this rules the vulva in the human body and has the Sabian symbol, the rainbow's pot of gold. Saturn is in the 23rd degree of Aquarius, which rules the left gastrocnemius muscle in the human body and has the Sabian symbol, a big bear sitting down and waving all of its paws. And Pluto is in the 6th degree of Capricorn, and this rules the right adductor muscle in the human body, and it has the Sabian symbol, a dark archway, and there's 10 logs at the bottom of this archway. So Uranus in the 4th degree of Taurus, and the rainbow's pot of gold, wants us to find stability and security in our home and family matters, and especially within ourselves. You know, the rainbow's pot of gold, what is it to you? You know, it's a rainbow, it's natural, something we don't control. So it's about finding enjoyment, gratitude for the simple things of life, including, for you, embracing you, and thinking about ways you can become more secure within yourself. But again, negatively, it can add to the disruption that we can experience to traditional structures, and this can cause confusion. But although it can be confusing, a lot of the time we don't live the life that we say that we wish we live, is because we won't let go of traditions or old ways of doing things. So sometimes we need to be disrupted, and Uranus is seen as the great awakener, the great disruptor in astrology, pushing us to change. So Saturn is in the 23rd degree of Aquarius, and there's a big bear sitting down and waving all of its paws. So it's kind of like a symbol of surrender, of saying, okay, the way I've been doing things is not right. I surrender, I sit down, universe sort of like show me. Or maybe you're having a long drawn out argument with your family member, a lover for decade and X, or a colleague at work. Petty arguments can go on. It may not be so petty, but this energy is asking you to, transform your sort of like the ways that you look at the world and act in the world, especially in your family and close relationships. But Saturn can add to us being like, no, I'm not going to change. So we just need to try and work through that energy. But ultimately, Saturn's influence here is allowing us to take personal responsibility and accountability, like, that was my bad, I'm going to change, sort of thing. Pluto is in the 6th degree of Capricorn, so positively, the dark archway and the 10 logs at the bottom, sort of like negotiating, exploring our hidden and the more challenging aspects of ourselves, our weaknesses, our repressions, the things that bring us shame and guilt, looking at healthy ways to channel our kinks or our repressions, and to accept ourselves and to work through, that dark psychological energy, those things we lock away that are, really, really sort of like uncomfortable to confront. But negatively, this energy can make us feel overwhelmed by the darkness or the obstacles that can come up, and we can struggle to confront the deep-seated fears and insecurities that Uranus Retrograde wants us to sort of like, confront. And this can lead to resisting, embracing the changes we need to take and the obstacles, and we can just seem like, oh, it's impossible, I can never do what these energies are telling me to do. But with conscious awareness and the willingness to dig deep into your shadows, this can ultimately lead you to powerful breakthroughs, and you just really, accepting yourself, finding your inner strength and embracing change and innovation. So ultimately the symbology of Uranus in the 4th degree of Taurus, it brings a promise of abundance, luck and potential sort of like rewards, and to unlock the hidden treasure within ourselves, accepting our inner resources by finding them, unearthing our innovative ideas and sort of like unconventional solutions to our problems. So now I'm going to talk about the physical, psychological and health implications, plus the esoteric and occult hidden meanings of the Sabian Degrees. So Uranus is in the 4th degree of Taurus, as I said, and Saturn's in the 23rd degree of Aquarius, and Pluto's in the 6th degree of Capricorn. So Uranus in the 4th degree of Taurus wants us to focus on stability, security, and the hidden treasures within ourselves. Health, it wants us to pay attention to the health of our throat, and revelations, through our self-reflection, or by, maybe dreams for some of you, or just tuning into a podcast or something you catch online or wherever, that can lead you to your inner riches. Saturn in the 23rd degree of Aquarius, health-wise, highlights the importance of maintaining balance and flexibility in our physical and emotional lives. Pluto in the 6th degree of Capricorn, ruling the right abductor muscle, wants us to, look after our sort of adductor muscle health, and wants us to, implement boundaries and think about controlling our lives. Do we take control? Are we too controlling? Why do we try and control everything? Even people pleasing is one of the highest forms of controlling behaviour, actually. So just looking at the innocent things where you think, no, I'm not controlling, just looking at things that can be seen as controlling or are controlling, but you've been doing them for so long you're not even aware of it. So esoterically, Pluto in the 6th degree, over the 4 to 5 months Uranus is in retrograde, wants us to really release our repression, our suppressed energies, and typically these are energies that we waste or we use on things like overthinking or engaging in our self-destructive thoughts and behaviour, but we don't realise it takes so much energy from us. But when we start limiting these behaviours and start thinking more positively, start doing more positive and healthy habits, we can see how much these unhealthy behaviours were draining us, sort of thing. So in terms of the karmic lessons, most of the lessons is basically related around breaking free from self-imposed limitations. So these are the ways you imprison yourself, typically by our, toxic thoughts and self-destructive habits and toxic relationships, as I said earlier. So it wants you to break free from the things that you sort of imprison yourself with. Embrace stepping into your authentic selves. We may have past life memories and reoccurring sort of dreams related to unfinished business. So a lot of dreams can be maybe we're dreaming we're about to win £1 million and we never get to that question, just dreams like that and stuff like that. So we have to kind of read the subtleties of our dreams and think about the reoccurring patterns between the thoughts that may come up or things people say or things that grab your attention right now. For some of you, it may not just be dreams and visions, insights and stuff like that. These past life memories serve to offer us insights into why certain struggles or obstacles exist in our present life. And like I said, these can just be memories that come up about your current life, early life, unresolved traumas and stuff like that. It may not be about past lives where you were reincarnated for some of you. So sort of we can kind of experience a strong kind of sense of deja vu and things happening before, and we can just have more emotional reactions at this time. So we just have to watch out for that, because as I said, we can be overly emotional and get overwhelmed, and this can add to tensions in our relationships as well. So by exploring these memories, we can, or these visions and things that come up right now, insights, can allow us to release old patterns that no longer serve us and make room for the growth that this energy wants us to sort of have. So now I'm going to talk about how Uranus retrograde affects our relationships. So in terms of families, we can have unexpected changes and revelations. Secrets can come out in our families. Long-standing issues may surface. Doing that again. standing issues may surface, providing an opportunity for growth. But negatively, these conflicts can just disrupt family routines and add to family tension and rifts and arguments. In terms of friendships, negatively, this can happen there as well. But positively, we can have a re-evaluation of our social circle and make changes to our friendship. We can feel more drawn towards forming new authentic connections with people who resonate more with our evolving self, rather than people that make us or refuse to stick to our boundaries or refuse to allow you to grow, because sometimes this happens and then sometimes we have to make painful choices. Or some of you may reconnect with old friends on a deeper or new level. But again, misunderstandings can happen and cause sudden separations in our friendships that require communication to change. Co-workers can sort of work together in teams to come up with innovative ideas and unconventional approaches to working together right now. But negatively, sudden changes in the work environment can lead to disruptions, or people acting in crazy ways can cause tension, So open communication is needed. In committed relationships, you or your partner or both of you can feel like you want to break free from old stagnant patterns in the ways that you communicate, or date nights or things like that. Embracing new ways to romance, relate to each other, or to be with each other, or to not be with each other for some of you. So, positively, there can be increasing excitement, passion, and us being spontaneous. But negatively, unexpected issues can surface that require our patience and understanding to resolve. Hookup relationships can kind of be more unpredictable right now, and there can be more of a need for thrill and spontaneity and new things, But negatively, unexpected revelations within casual relationships can lead to unstable sort of misunderstandings that need us to sort of communicate to make sure in hookups that we're saying what we want, we're not lying to get what we want, we're not expecting things that people cannot give to us. So communication is key. Seek adventure, of course, but just make sure you can handle all the consequences of the things that you do over the time when Uranus is in retrograde. So for those of you who are single, it can inspire you to break free from old dating patterns and, just want to sort of date new people. But uncertainty and self-doubt, because you can be fearful of the unknown, can kind of stop you from staying true to yourself or remaining open to new experiences. So, of course, be cautious, but make sure you're not missing the things that you need right now. Self-partnered people should self-reflect and focus on growing more independent and loving yourself more deeply, and thinking about whether you want to go in a traditional relationship with someone else or alternative relationship with others, whatever you want to do. Also, there may be more intense moments of solitude, but this is trying to force you to confront what needs confronting. There's always something to be healed, right? And it wants you to think about your existing beliefs and routines, and build inner resilience and have more of a willingness to embrace the change and to sort of think outside of your box, even if you do think outside of the box in general, being self-partnered, but thinking of ways you can improve your relationship, or of ways you may be using your self-partneredness to keep other people out as well. There's always a thin line, because of course when you can be well, I need people who are in alignment with my values and my needs, and it can be hard to find those, so I understand. So yeah, now I'm going to talk about the things that can positively and negatively influence our career, spiritual, personal, and educational development in more depth. So in terms of our career, we can discover new passions that align with our true calling, as I said earlier, and we can just be open to unconventional ideas, as I said, but negatively we can be resistant to change as well. But positively, you can start a side hustle that aligns with what you really want out of life at this phase of your life and stuff like that. But just watch out for that, resistance to sort of like change. That can stop you from embracing the newness. In terms of personal growth, it's great for self-reflection and feeling empowered and having a new found sense of confidence and self-awareness, love and acceptance, and just doing the things that look after your overall well-being on the psychological, emotional, spiritual, financial and physical levels. But negatively, it can just make us stick to outdated beliefs in our comfort zone, because we love our comfort zones, right? In terms of our spiritual journey, the best use of this energy is to deeply connect with your inner self and the universe and to expand your consciousness. But negatively, it can add to disconnection and confusion and overwhelming sort of like stress right now. So it's essential to remain open-minded and receptive to new ideas and experiences right now. In terms of your educational exploration, it's great to sort of like take new courses, think of new strategies to learn things in a new way, and learn methods that challenge your intellect, or techniques or theories or philosophies or religions, cultures, whatever. Get outside of your comfort zone and stimulate your growth. Attend workshops, intellectual discussions, online courses, listen to content, online podcasts, all of that good stuff, to expand your awareness, read books. Negatively resisting, exploring yourself on the educational sort of like level can limit your growth and curiosity, and also sticking to the familiar topics and avoiding opportunities for learning can just get in the way of your development and keep you from reaching your full potential. So maybe questioning yourself while you do this. A lot of the time it can be fearful of our own success or fearful of failure, and by stepping outside of your comfort zone, you can discover new passions and unlock hidden talents that can significantly sort of like enrich your personal and academic growth and all levels of growth right now. And just remember, every new piece of knowledge gained or every new attempt you do to change the self-destructive behaviours or limiting thought patterns or ways of relating to yourself toxically or others is like a stepping stone towards a more enlightened and empowered version of yourself. So now I'm just going to finish up by talking about the best things for you to do. So creatives should use this energy to revisit old projects with fresh sort of like perspectives, maybe working with others, experimenting with new techniques, seeking inspirations from different sources. Professionals should review their career goals and strategies and network with like-minded individuals, and this can help you gain valuable insights. And just be kind of like flexible, and open to new possibilities. Entrepreneurs should re-evaluate their business models, their strategies and long-term objectives and goals. Use it as an opportunity to innovate and sort of like integrate technological advancements into your ventures, so AI and stuff like that. And I know there's a lot of talk against it, but it could be really good and improve your workflow in some ways. Stay adaptable, monitor industry trends closely and be prepared to embrace change to stay ahead of the market. Alternative healers should explore new techniques and revisit traditional practices with more of a fresh outlook and focus on self-care routines, energy cleansing and maintaining a balanced state of mind to increase your healing abilities. And just kind of like, incorporate unconventional techniques or ancient wisdom into your healing sessions to deepen their therapeutic impact. Experiment and remain open to new ideas that resonate with your intuitive guidance. So, make sure you take time out to sort of like meditate and prioritize your overall well-being, so you can act as a, clean channel to your clients and to yourself. And, this reflective time can lead to profound insights that increase your healing abilities for the benefit of yourself and those that you sort of like serve at this time. Lovers should use this time to create open, safe communication, embracing being spontaneous and exploring new ways to deepen their connection. It's a good time to shake things up and try new things together and work on building trust and understanding, and, planning surprise date nights and stuff like that, and actively listening to each other's needs and reading body language, being aware of those subtle cues and then flyaway comments that lovers can say when they, sometimes passively, aggressively state their needs, which is not always healthy, but sometimes we can't always be perfect, hey? So yeah, embracing being spontaneous can bring a sense of freshness and excitement to the relationship, and this can strengthen the bond, and just learning something new together, just simply spending quality time without distractions, sharing experiences and deepening emotional intimacy can be really, really good and just make the relationship more resilient at this time. Singles can use this as an opportunity to reflect on your limited patterns and embrace your passions and be open to unexpected romantic encounters, but don't ignore those red flags. Try out new hobbies, volunteer for a cause, maybe go on a solo adventure, take yourself on date nights, have date nights in your home, treat yourself to nice things like maybe massages, self massages, nice baths, stuff like that, building a strong foundation of self-love, acceptance, awareness and confidence, so that when the right person comes along, you are ready to welcome them in your life with an open heart and a clarity of purpose. And remember that being single is an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. It doesn't always have to be seen as a negative thing. Being single, even though I started the journey sort of reluctantly, I was all up for it, I just didn't know I was going to be single for as long as I was, but in doing so I have become a better partner to myself, and this means I can be a better partner to others as well. So self-partnered individuals can use this time to strengthen their relationships, prioritize self-care routines, connect with their intuition and explore different thought sets of your identity. And because I believe there's always something to discover within. It's just so beautiful within. There's so much levels to connecting to your depths and understanding your responses and your emotions if you're just open. And it is scary at first because we numb ourselves because it can be overwhelming, but truly doing that inner work and shadow work is really beneficial. So I'm just going to talk now about some shadow work and inner work techniques that you can use. So meditation can be really good at this time, especially mindfulness meditation, if you don't know what that is, or even if you do, maybe still researching, listening to different people that do it so you can upgrade how you do it and stuff like that. Being grounded, doing things to healthily make you stay grounded when Uranus retrograde is really good. Journaling can be really powerful to understand your emotions, especially just free writing. I do that, sometimes I just free write, just let my thoughts just come out, or voice record myself, and you'd be amazed of, just allowing your higher consciousness or your emotions or your deeper self, your subconscious to speak, can be really valuable, as it can shed light on the things you need to be working on, resolving within yourself. Spending times outdoors in nature, doing some gardening, or taking a simple walk in the park can help you tap into the grounding energy that is needed to sort of like navigate Uranus in retrograde. And Tai Chi can also support you, and yoga and stuff, gentle movements, Pilates, gentle exercises, rebounding and stuff like that as well. For emotional development, exploring your shadow self is critical and crucial, especially during Uranus retrograde. Maybe like sort of like a shadow work journal, or therapy sessions or self-help therapy sessions, connecting with your inner child. Guided visualizations can help you uncover and integrate hidden aspects of yourself that are seeking to be acknowledged, because a lot of the time it's those parts that we don't acknowledge, what we see as weak and scary, that can cause havoc in our life because we're not managing them. Self-care routines are really, really important, as well as, just doing healthy things to look after your mental and emotional and spiritual well-being, and setting boundaries, seeking support from those you can trust, and engaging in activities that bring you joy, but also sticking to a routine and not being afraid to question your limiting beliefs, and opening yourself up to the insights that can be had by daring to change and be your authentic self. So yeah, trust in the process, stay open to new possibilities, and remember to be gentle with yourself as you embark or continue your inward journey. And remember, self-discovery is a continuous process that requires patience, compassion and self-reflection, allowing yourself to get back up after each failure, and there will be many. And by digging deep into your inner world and connecting with the energies of nature and spirituality, you can develop, cultivate a profound sense of self-awareness and personal growth. Allow yourself to, explore the depths of your being, confront your shadows with courage, although it is scary. Seek out the tools and resources, take time out, try and do it in a balanced way. Even when you want to rush ahead, it's best to go slow, because sometimes you can burn yourself out on all this personal development stuff, So yeah, as you uncover, the different parts of yourself, embrace them with acceptance and love. And as you navigate the transformative energies of Uranus retrograde, I hope that you find peace and clarity and a better sense of, self-empowerment and acceptance and esteem and confidence and all that stuff, and healing. So yeah, I've been Amani, your holistic karmic astrologer, and that's the end of this special on Uranus transiting in retrograde.